Hey everybody, so today just wanted to show how you can work with ZeroMQ in LabVIEW. So this is the library I'm going to be using. So there's this ZeroMQ socket library available on VIPM. This is the one I'm going to be using in this. So for those of you who may not know what ZeroMQ is, this is something, it's meant to be like an IoT type protocol, very similar to MQTT. So if you don't know what MQTT is, I do have another video already created about that kind of talks about what that is and how that works. ZeroMQ is really similar to MQTT. There's a couple differences. The major difference being that this doesn't rely on a broker. So if you remember in MQTT, you're going to have clients that are pushing data, either publishing or subscribing to data from a broker, and the broker is the go-between, right? Nothing works without the broker. So you can have a device publishing data to a broker, and you can have different clients that are subscribed to that topic through the broker, and they receive that data that way. ZeroMQ basically bypasses the broker, so we're able to do request and also do publish and subscribes, but they're all direct, not going through a broker. So this library here is basically a wrapper for some of the C functions available for ZeroMQ, bringing them all into LabVIEW. So first off, I'm going to just demo this simple request client and server, kind of show you what this looks like. So here we're just creating a simple reply server. So we're using this, let me scoot that over. All right, so yeah, we're using this create context. So we're always going to use this to start off, whether we're client server, etc. We're going to create context first. Now we can specify we want to create a socket, and we can specify how we're connecting to that. So I'm using this ZeroMQ reply. The client is going to be using ZeroMQ request. And you can see there's also subscriptions, publishing, pairing. There's a whole bunch of other stuff too for streaming, server clients, etc. So I'm just in this video going to cover kind of these four: request, reply, and subscribe and publish. There are a lot more you can play with if you're interested. So next we're going to bind the socket. So we're going to use this format of TCP : / our server, right? We're not connecting to a different socket. We are creating the socket, so we can just put a star there, and then a colon, and then the port that we want to listen on. So in this case, it's 5555. So that is that bind socket function. Then we're going to use this receive data function, which is basically just going to wait until it receives data. And it's going to then send data. So I have this set up. The client will send hello, and this will respond with world. And then at the end, we're just closing the socket and then destroying the context. So really pretty simple. On the client side, let's look at how that's set up. So like I said, we're using that create context function. We're setting this for a ZeroMQ request as we create the socket. And then we're going to connect to a socket on that server. So here we're going to specify TCP, just like we did on the other one. But now we're going to have to put a IP address or DNS name of that server we're connecting to. In my case, it's just localhost 127.0.0.1 and the port that we're connecting to. Then we're just going to use this send data function to send hello to it. And we're going to wait to receive data back, that is the reply. And once we're done, we're going to close that socket and destroy the context. So let's go here. Let's run our server and run our client. So you can see the server did receive hello and the client did receive world. So that's just a simple, kind of request response. And this doesn't have to shut down after a single command, right? I can wrap this in a loop and I can do, different request response type designs. Really simple and all without a broker. So now let's look at how you can do like publish and subscribes. So I have a simple publisher and a simple subscriber created. So let's look at the publisher first. Just like in our other examples, we're going to create the context. We're going to create a socket. This time we're setting this to be a publishing socket. we're going to bind the socket, again, just like in our other example on the server, just using a star for the IP address. And then we're just going to send data. So we're going to just generate a random number, flatten to a string, send data. Over and over again until we close the socket and destroy the context. So that is our publisher. Our subscriber is pretty simple as well. So we're going to create the context. We're going to create a socket that's a subscriber, and we're going to bind the socket, or connect to a socket, of our publisher. And we're going to set this socket option to 0MQ subscribe. And we're going to define the data type of the data being sent over, which is just a string. And then we're just going to use that same receive data function over and over again. That's just going to receive that data. And when we're done, close the socket, etc. So yeah, that would be that. So let's launch our publisher and let's launch our subscriber. So you can see our publisher is able to send that data over. Our subscriber receives it just fine. I can stop the subscriber and the publisher just keeps, chugging along just fine. It's sending data, nothing's, connected to the socket. So it just moves on. I can reconnect my subscriber and it reconnects just fine. And I'm able to get that data through, et cetera, et cetera. So pretty simple. So really well put together API, really pretty simple, but allows you to do all sorts of stuff from just, request response type designs to, subscriptions and, publishing and whatnot. And even beyond, right? It can do different stuff like dealing and routing, etc., streaming data, all sorts of cool stuff. So you can do a lot of really cool stuff with this library. So that would be how you handle 0MQ in LabVIEW. Thank you.
Canon Controls is your gateway to mastering LabVIEW. Dive into programming for data acquisition, industrial communications, and manufacturing automation. Explore how to enhance your projects with cybersecurity best practices. Join the journey to elevate your skills and secure your systems with every episode.